Hello friends, this is Casey over at the Bodie's Homestead, and in today's video we're going to talk about the avian flu. I feel like as a homesteader and someone from the preparedness mindset, this is an important topic to stay up on. I don't think it's something that we need to be necessarily afraid of or concerned about, but they did just record the first case in a human in the United States. So we're going to talk about that. But first, we're going to read through this article. It came out earlier this month, but if you don't have a lot of information on it yet, or you don't want to read through all of the junk and the fear-mongering crap, I'll give it to you straight. Bird flu is killing millions of chickens and turkeys across the United States, and that is a fact. We've lost about, this article is older, but we've probably lost close to 50 million birds. So if you're seeing shortages in the store when it comes to chicken and eggs where you live, you might be in a state that has a lot of cases. It's in about half of the United States currently. What is avian influenza so deadly? I'm sorry, why is avian influenza so deadly for domestic birds but not for wild birds that carry it? Avian influenza is a contagious virus that affects all birds. There are two types of AI viruses that cause the disease in chickens: highly pathogenic and low pathogenic. HPAI viruses cause high mortality in poultry and occasionally in some wild birds. LPAI can cause mild to moderate disease in poultry and usually little to no clinical signs of illness in wild birds. Okay. The primary host for these viruses are waterfowl. So if you have a pond on your property, or you live near a lake, or you have a river or a creek or stream, and you have geese or ducks flying overhead and they're pooping on your property, or they're sharing a pond with your animals, this is how it's spreading. And so if you don't have your birds kenneled, or you don't have them with cover over the top of them, that's what's going on. I recently watched a YouTube video from a gentleman in New York, and he lost all 400 of his birds. They came down with avian influenza, the highly pathogenic version, and the government came in, whoever takes care of that kind of thing, and had to kill every single one of his birds. Even the ones that he had covered that were not sick, because they shared the property, they all had to be euthanized. And he had to wait 150 days, and is probably still waiting because this was recent, before he's allowed to have any more birds on the property. They came in and they cleaned the entire area. They removed all of the dead animals and everything. So they were very, very thorough about this. But if you end up with a case, they will take your entire flock. So it's very, very important to create biosecurity. We currently do not have any cases in the state of California, but if for any reason it did reach California, our main thing would be, first of all, don't visit any farms that's obviously not yours. Be very careful when you're going in public places that have a lot of wild birds. Maybe don't go feed the ducks or the geese down at the creek or at the river. Keep a separate pair of shoes. So if you have a pair of shoes that you walk around your property on, only use those shoes. If you're going to go out in public and go to public places where there might be bird droppings on the street and you're walking in your tennis shoes, do not use those same shoes on your property. There's just a couple of tips for you. Okay, back to the article. There are multiple strains of avian influenza. What type is the outbreak, and is it dangerous to humans? The current type is H5N1 that has a high mortality and severe clinical signs in domesticated poultry. Scientists who monitor wild bird flocks have also detected a virus that contains genes from both H5 low in North America virus and, of course, the H5 high. So this happens when multiple strains of the virus are circulating in the bird population and exchange genes to create a new strain of the virus, much as new strains of COVID-19 like Omicron and Delta have emerged during the ongoing pandemic. So this virus works the same way, okay? It mutates and changes, and new strains come about all the time. By the way, the avian influenza is not new. We've had horrible outbreaks in the past. In fact, in about 2015, we lost a good, I think, 150 million birds. It was even worse then. So, this is not new. It's getting a lot more widespread coverage because we are already having food shortages, and we are already going through a lot when it comes to the supply chain suffering and things like that. So this is getting a lot more coverage. So, according to the U.S. Centers of Disease Control Prevention, the risk to public health from the outbreak is low. No human illnesses have been associated with the virus in North America. Now, that is until today. And I'm going to switch you over to the other article now. U.S. records first case of highly contagious bird flu in human, health officials say. Although the H5N1 flu is highly infectious among birds, public health officials said that the risk it poses to humans remains low. A highly contagious strain of avian flu that has likely killed hundreds of birds and spread across more than 24 states has been detected in a human for the first time, U.S. officials say on Thursday. The man was working on a commercial farm in Colorado and was involved in culling poultry, suspected to be infected when he was directly exposed to the H5N1 flu. The state official the state's health department said in a release. The man, described as younger than 40, reportedly only one symptom, fatigue, and was taking the antiviral drug Tamiflu. A positive test administered this week by the State Department, which said it had been monitoring people exposed to poultry and wild birds, was confirmed Wednesday by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the agency said. The affected flock was euthanized. Okay, so we do have a case in humans. It does not spread. It's not the kind of virus that's going to spread like COVID did. It can't easily transfer from human to human. It doesn't easily transfer from bird to human. I do suspect we will see a few more cases trickle through the United States in other commercial or large factory farms where people are working with thousands or millions of birds, but I do not expect it to blow up and be this big, huge new pandemic. Okay, now I'm not saying that it couldn't happen in the future if strains continue to mutate and change. That's absolutely a possibility. But this one, as of right now, I do not see that happening. So I would not be afraid. I would not fear. The only thing I would say is be concerned about your backyard flock. If you're a homesteader or a farmer and you have your chickens, be mindful. Really, really try to, take care of where you're going, even going into Tractor Supply. You know what I mean? People are walking in with their shoes and they could have poop, on their shoes from their farm where maybe they have an infection, or you know what I mean? Or they've gone in public places. You really have to think about those kinds of things to protect your backyard flock. Be mindful that you could see upcoming chicken shortages and egg shortages in the grocery store, and that's just how it's going to be. So be kind to your local farmers. If you do get your chickens and eggs from your local farmers, just know that they're going through a lot right now with increased feed prices and now this avian flu. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.